Australia, it looks perfect online, beaches, blue skies and relaxed vibes. But after living here myself, I've realised there's a whole different side to Australia that you don't even see on social media. But today, I'm going to show you the real Australia, the side to Australia that shocks me, frustrated me, and made me love Australia even more.
The first point, not everywhere is stunning beaches.
So first off, we are off to another suburb here in Perth. Recently I went to Armadale, which is rated the most dangerous suburb in Perth, and today we're going to a place called Midland, and that is also ranked pretty high when it comes to crime. I like to see like different suburbs in the city, see the contrast from obviously your amazing beach suburbs, but also I've had personal experience living in suburbs like this. So guys, I have arrived here in Midland. Gonna have a little look around. Early impressions, yeah, nothing crazy at the moment. This is point number one on the list, and the first thing is suburbs. It's very easy to think that all Aussies live an amazing lifestyle, but the reality is for a lot of them, they don't live in the nicest areas. But it's so silent, guys. I feel like I've walked into a ghost town. It's not like when I went to Armadale, which was very busy, to be honest, surprisingly busy. Feels like I've walked into an absolute ghost town here. Right, so according to some stats, theft and property crime, the highest in Perth. Burglary and break-ins, they are top 3 in Perth. Same with property damage and vandalism. Always a sign of a rougher area when there is like trolleys everywhere. Looks like a bit of council housing, something you'd see in the UK. Definitely not the sort of housing you expect to see in Australia. There's definitely a lot more empty kind of areas you see like this around these areas. Oh, and it's a budget motel by the looks of things, guys. So if you want to come and stay in Midland, there's your spot. I wonder what the rooms are like. Yeah. Well, look, it's a bit run down and that, but what do you expect for kind of the highest crime areas? And I'll say it's not that bad. It definitely isn't amazing. It's not like the Australia you picture online. It's not the Australia you move for. And like I said, a lot of backpackers don't see this side really. It's not the case. This is why I encourage people travel all of Australia, the good and the bad, because you're going to get the best view of the country. Trust me, I've seen every side to Australia, from Alice Springs to the worst areas of cities to the most beautiful places in the country. But the amount of backpackers that come here and just go to all the tourist places and then think Australia's perfect makes me laugh. I'll have one more look around, see if we spot anything worth filming. But
Point number 2, the dark side to the Australian weather.
And I think now is a good time to cover the next point in the video, and that is Australia's heat. Obviously, we all love the weather in Australia. It's the biggest reason all of us Brits move here, is for the amazing weather. The sun, this kind of weather, obviously. But there is a downside, a dark side to the amazing Australian weather, particularly in places like Perth, where I'm living now. And that is simply that it just gets too hot. And genuinely living here, I never thought I'd be in the mindset that I'd actually crave a rainy day. It's all well and good when you're off work and you can sit on the beach or go to a pool or go in the sea. It's all good. But when it's 45 degrees and you've got to make the commute to work, it is definitely not ideal. And online, obviously, you only see the amazing side to the Australian weather. You see everyone on the beach, but what they don't show you is when you have to go about your daily routine, your daily chores, and the weather is absolutely baking. Days like today, come to film, you know, a suburb, I am absolutely sweating. And I'm not complaining because I love the Australian weather, but I'm just saying it's something you don't necessarily see online.
Point number 3, not everyone is a surfer at the beach.
Here is the next thing, guys, that you definitely don't see online about Australia, and that is hundreds and hundreds of people commuting to work. I feel like this is something which is so big in the UK, is the rat race. Everyone rushing to work, and it's not something you associate at all with Australia, but being in the city, it does happen. And just coming to the station now, there is hundreds, this train in front of me, hundreds of corporate people rushing to work. So even though it's not as big as the UK, the kind of rat race feel there is a lot of people still commuting to work, and it's not something you associate with Australia. Obviously it happens, of course, because there's big cities here, big companies, corporate, so the point of this is not everyone is a surfer, do you know what I mean, on the beach for sunrise. A lot of people get up, go to their corporate job, and then go home.
Point number 4, Australia's cities are just very quiet.
So the next thing on the list is quiet areas in Australia's cities, and just how chill and quiet cities are here in Australia. The reason I'm including this as a point is because I feel like online it can be quite deceiving to what Australian cities are like. It's very easy to think that life in Australia consists of everything you see every day, but I'm not gonna lie, like, it is so slow paced, so chill. I think people who want to move here, if you're looking for a place that's just bustling, filled with stuff to do, I don't think Australia is your place. When you learn to enjoy the small things that Australia offers, it's the best place in the world, and for me the best lifestyle. Particularly cities like Perth, once it gets to like 5-6 p.m, it is dead. It is dead. Of course there's busy areas certain times of the week, but it's like everyone hibernates once it gets to about 7 p.m, which is very different to what it's like online and in places like the UK, Europe and stuff like that. Here in Australia, it's just very, very quiet. Like, you hardly see anyone about.
Point number 5 is that we do all have to work at some point.
Good morning, guys, and this here is the next thing that you definitely don't see on social media, something that you don't think about really before you move to Australia, but it's working. Obviously when you move to Australia you have to work, obviously, but I think you don't really think about how much of life in Australia does get taken up with working. You think that you're gonna have so much time to do other stuff, but I leave for work at 8:30 in the morning. I don't get back till like 6 p.m. That's like 5 days a week at the moment, so it's not something you really think about. And the majority of my week, 5 days of the week, I'm working. They always talk about the work-life balance being way better in Australia. In my opinion, it's not any better in Australia. I think this is a bit of a social media myth. There's no doubt that your days off in Australia are way better. There's no doubt that in general, when you're off work, you live a better life. But I wouldn't say that you get any more time off work than you would back in the UK, for example. So I hear it all the time. People say, oh, but Australia's got the work-life balance, right? I think that's quite deceiving, because a lot of people move here and think that they just are not going to have to work anywhere near as much. But in reality, I spend the same amount of time at work in Australia as I did back home in the UK. It's not something you think about, but when you do, yeah, it's obvious. Long day of work ahead, but yeah, it's the reality of life in Australia, guys. It's expensive and we have to work.
And point number 6, the true cost of living.
So guys, just went for a nice drink at a beachfront bar there. I'll tell you in a minute why that drink relates to this point. Now the point we're speaking about is the cost of living here in Australia. And why is this different to online? In my opinion, it is way cheaper in Australia than it's brought up online. If you listen to social media and everything you hear about Australia, you think it is insanely expensive. To be honest, going off the hype, you'd expect it's the most expensive country in the world. But honestly, living here, it really isn't that bad. There is so many things in Australia which I think are cheaper than the UK and New Zealand, where I lived as well. In my opinion, Australia doesn't really have a cost of living crisis. I think it is way better here than the UK, mostly due to the high wages. So why does the beer come into this? I mean, technically an excuse to have a beer, but I feel like alcohol is the only thing that deserves the hype about the expensive prices in Australia. Alcohol here is really expensive. But other than that, I feel like the prices here are nowhere near what is seen on social media. It's definitely, the word cost of living crisis is used a lot when it comes to Australia. Hey guys, I'm literally having to hide behind a friggin' sand dune because it's so windy. But anyway, this video is not to list all the negative things about Australia. It's not to moan and complain about the things I don't like here, because realistically, none of these things that I've mentioned today have been an issue for me. However, there is a good chance that during your time in Australia, you will come across a few of these, if not all of them, during your time here. And it's mainly to give them backpackers a heads up, particularly them backpackers that I see a lot of videos on social media glamorizing Australia to the point where it's like ridiculous. It's like there's nothing wrong with Australia, but like with any country, there is negatives, there is difficult things about living here. And to be honest, I've been guilty of it at times, glamorizing Australia so much in my content. It is the best country I've ever lived, for sure. But there is things about daily life here which don't get shown on social media, and things that not every backpacker gets to see, but a lot of backpackers do. I've definitely seen my fair share of stuff that I've shared in this video. But anyway, places like this, the reason people like myself move to Australia, and the small negatives that I mentioned in this video are nothing compared to the positives that Australia actually offers. It's mad. And I think I'm gonna go in the sea, even though it's so windy, but I might as well, seeing as I've come to the beach. Let's do a little sunset swim, guys. I swear it's warmer in the sea than it is on the land, I swear. Oh my god. Pretty disappointed sunset, to be honest, guys. But anyway, I thought we were going to get an amazing one, but it is what it is.
Well, thank you for watching today's video, guys. Make sure you give it a like and subscribe to the channel. Also, let me know your thoughts in the comments on this one, and I will see you in the next video.